Hello everyone, it's Natasha from Treasure Books. In this video, we are transforming generic greeting cards into something special. Since Christmas is coming up, I'm using Christmas cards, and I picked up a pack of Christmas cards in an op shop the other day for $1. And they're just generic Christmas cards. They come with this flimsy envelopes, and in this tutorial we are utilizing the card and the envelope to make a journal. Of course, you can use this method for any card that you have. You can do it for birthday cards, anniversary cards. You get the point. So let me show you what I did. I used these 3 Christmas cards, and from that we have 3 Christmas junk journals. I'm going to do a quick flip through of one of the journals just so you know what to expect. And so you can decide if you want to stay. Here we have a tag that opens up, and that lives in this little belly band here. This is actually the envelope, and I've got some little bits and pieces in there. And then we have a signature. We're going the Christmas theme, right? So that's the signature. That's the back of the envelope. We're leaving this sentiment page as it is. And at the back we have a pocket with a tag. I will also show you how to make this tassel. But more importantly, I wanted to show you how to create this extra little loop up here, a place to attach your tassel, and that's done during the binding process. We're just doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. This is a really simple, quick project, beautiful for any occasion, as a little gift for Christmas, birthday, or even as a little craft fair item. Why not? Look how cool this looks for a craft fair idea. Perhaps pop a little gold ribbon around, or a bow or something like that. Make it real nice. All right, let's get started with the tutorial. We are starting, of course, with the Christmas greeting card and its blank envelope. The first thing I want to do is work on the envelope. Because I want the pocket full of stuff to be at the front, I'm going to orient my envelope this way. The flap is at the back. If you do it this way, your flap will be here at the front of the journal, then you have your signature in here, and the pocket all the way at the back. So it's totally up to you. I want the pocket at the front, so my envelope is going to be oriented this way. And we want to know this because I'm going to be covering this side, and I will be using this scrapbook paper. So in this case, it doesn't really matter which way it's oriented because the paper can go both ways. But if you have directional paper, then you want to make sure your envelope is oriented the right way, so it's not, you don't end up with an upside down image. I prepared 2 pieces, one for the envelope and one for the greeting card, and I'm only covering this front part like this. So this is going to end up looking like this when the envelope is bound in, right? So you need 2 pieces of scrapbook paper. I cut mine down just so there's a sliver of whatever that word is I'm looking for. I can't think, but you just want a little bit of that edge visible, right? And then also same for your card, and you can just see a tiny little bit of that edge visible. So that's how you trim your paper down. At this point, you can decide if you want sewing around your pages, which I've got on this one, or you can decide not to bother with the sewing around the pages like here. And I'm showing you these just so you can kind of see that, it's totally up to you. I'm feeling like I want a little bit of sewing on this scrapbook paper, and I'm going to go with white thread. I'm going to go and do that, and I'll be right back. So this sewing part is absolutely non-functional. It doesn't serve an actual purpose other than, you can see the difference. It makes it quite a little bit more special. All right, sewing complete. And the next step is to glue these pieces down where they belong. So this one goes on the envelope, and this one goes on the inside of the greeting card right there. I just want to make sure the envelope is facing the right way. I mean, again, it doesn't matter with the particular paper I'm using, but just to be on the safe side. And now I'm going to glue this down directly. I really want to get those edges really well, so I'm just going to make sure that I'm spreading that glue all the way to the edge. And here we go. Position it in place, that's perfect, and then smooth everything down. Get rid of any seeping glue and repeat the process on this one. And here we go, done. That's what it's going to look like when it's bound. The next thing I want to do, I'm just going to pop that one aside. I want to kind of make this envelope look a little bit better. You can see it's all flimsy and not that great. White, plain white, So what I'm going to do is just cover this section here I have prepared a lot of my pieces in advance just so I'm not spending too much time cutting and all that sort of stuff while I'm filming. But I'll tell you how I kind of measured this. So in this pack where I got the greeting cards from, the 16 cards and also envelopes. And I noticed that for some reason, perhaps that's why I was in a second-hand shop, a lot of the envelopes were damaged. And I mean, even if they weren't damaged, I mean, surely, you know, I would have been fine sacrificing an envelope. So what I did is I got the most damaged one and I opened it up, and then I had this piece, which is the same as that piece. I had it kind of available to be able to, you can see here. So what I did, I grabbed some scrapbook paper like this, popped it in there, traced around the size, and then I cut it out. You can see here, slightly smaller than the tracing. Okay, I think that makes sense. Otherwise, when you have a sealed envelope and you just want to cover this section here, it might be a little bit hard to determine how your piece has, how large it has to be and so on. So anyway, this little piece is going to be glued on top of that. But first I'm going to ink the edges. And at this point, I'm asking myself, do I want to be extra and just do a little bit of sewing around? In the previous journals I've done, I didn't bother with the sewing around, but might as well do it on this one. Since I'm asking myself the question, should I? Maybe that means that I should. And here we go. It didn't really make all that much difference, but it kind of looks nice. So that's going to be glued straight down. I wanted to show you up close because I wanted you to see that again I have left a little border all around. Perhaps you can see, perhaps not. You can go ahead and if you want to, you know, do this side as well. I haven't, and I'm not going to with this one. So once again, you would get a larger piece of paper than this one. And oh, actually this would be perfect. Well, you know what, now that I'm here, might as well. I'm gonna trace it all around. There we go, tracing done. You can see it doesn't have to be any perfect lines or anything like that. Cut it out. And when I'm cutting it out, I'm cutting it out smaller than the tracing. You can see here. Let's see how good of a job I've done. It's not too bad, but I can do better than that. You can see it has to be shorter here. That's not too bad. Of course, it could have been a little bit better at that point, but I'm just going to... Okay, I think that looks a lot better. I was going to say I'm just going to leave it, but I can't leave it when it's not, you know, pretty good at least. So, okay, there we have it. I'm going to glue that down. I won't even bother with the sewing this time, or will I? And here we go. I ended up actually sewing all around that, and it looks really pretty. And you might think it's too much work and too much fiddling around for one envelope, but let me tell you, it's these little details that sell. So if you're going to a craft fair, you're going to have some of these, you know, journals. It's the little details that matter, is what I'm trying to say. Especially when other crafters are looking at your work, and especially when something seems a mystery, when something is like, oh, how does she do that? For example, it might seem pretty obvious to all of us here how this is done. But I remember when I first started, I didn't understand. How is there sewing here, but the envelope is not shut on this side? But like they're sewing there. Like how do they do that? I mean, it's clear. You sew on the piece separately and then you glue it down. But to me back then, it wasn't, because it was all brand new. So when somebody picks up your work, let's say at a craft fair, or let's say, you know, even just as a gift, and they see the little details, I think it makes a difference. Like I didn't do all that extra sewing here, and I did it here, but I didn't do the extra piece of scrapbook paper. All I did was sewing, just some fun little stitches. And here I applied these little corners. You know what I mean? It's the details that matter. Sorry about the rambling. At this point, we have the greeting card that looks like that, and we have an envelope that looks like that. All right. The next thing we need, because that's going to be bound in there, and let me show you how it kind of looks, because you can see a little bit of that envelope sticking out. Of course, because the envelope is larger than the actual card. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare the signature, the pages that are going to be bound in. Once again, I prepared mine ahead of time, just so we're not wasting time here. I have some coffee dyed paper or tea dyed. I have a green page, a red page. We're doing Christmas themed, right? So green and red. And then one more tea dyed page, then one green, one red, and lastly a tea dyed page. That's all I have. And it's just standard just standard copy paper that I've cut down to fit right inside the greeting card. So we have 7 pages in total. These 7 pages, when they are folded in half, popped into a signature like this, give you 28 sides. So it will be a 28-page journal. The pages were exactly the same size as my envelope. So before, when I said I used copy-sized paper, copy-sized? That doesn't sound right. Just, you know, the standard computer paper, right? Folded it down and then I trimmed it down to size so that it fits perfectly with the envelope, not with the greeting card. You'll see at the back the pages are sticking out. I prefer it that way. The pages are ready. The next step is binding. I just want to ink the edges. I mean, of course I can do this later as well, but I just want to do it now. It just kind of defines that edge a bit better. All right, that's all the inking I'm going to do. Let's get ready for binding. I have my needle ready. I am going to use a simple embroidery floss for this project because the book is not, you know, a large journal. It's not heavy, it's not thick. Embroidery floss will do the job just fine. Plus I like that green color. Next thing I need is my pokey tool or an awl. So we have the envelope going that way. We want the pocket at the front. If you want the pocket at the back, of course you have your envelope that way, and then you have the flap at the front. Totally up to you. So we pop those signatures in there. I mean the signature, just the one. Make sure everything is nicely aligned. Now, because the envelope is actually larger than the greeting card, try and center it the best you can. So I have all this overhang here, but then nothing at the top. So I'm just trying to center it. I usually say the best you can, but I am actually trying to center it perfectly. I want it perfect. Like you can see on this one, there's an equal amount up here as there is down there. Excellent. All right, now let's begin the binding. Centered, yes. We are doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but we are adding an extra hole here to create this little loop so that we can have a space for something to hang. If you didn't do that loop and you hang your tassel down here, it's just going to slide down all the way in the middle, or you have to fiddle around with tying a knot here, starting your binding from the outside. I mean, there's ways, but I think let's just do it. Let's just stop talking and just do the thing. So as usual, start your first hole here in the middle, the next hole down here somewhere at the bottom, you know, eyeballing maybe an inch, inch and a half, whatever, up to you. And then same amount of distance up here somewhere, just like that. Perfect. And I can already see my pages moved. Oh, there you go, talking about all that. I want it perfect. All right, so that's, you have your 3-hole pamphlet stitch, 3 holes ready to go. And now you just want another hole up here, just like that. So what's that? Maybe ½ an inch, maybe a little bit less than a centimeter. It doesn't really matter. You just want a finger distance, maybe a pinky. Depends on, you know, your pinky, I suppose. Here is my thread. All right, so this is how we do the binding with that little loop thing. You start, instead of starting in the middle like we usually do, we're going to start here in that hole there, the second one from top, and leave a little tail. We're going to need that. And now we come back in through the top hole. Okay, so there's your loop. You can't really see, but there it is. It's not done yet because we want that loop strong, tight, and secure. All right, so what we're going to do is go back out through the same hole, that second hole from the top, go back out. And now we're going to go back in. Okay, it's really hard to do this standing up, but so we went through this hole, out this way, back inside, and then you did that again and back inside. So all you did is doubled this up. And now you want it tight, but you don't want to rip through the holes. So, you know, just be reasonable. Don't go mad and like rip the whole thing apart. Okay, but make it tight. Turning it around so I can easily then make a knot. All right, make it tight. We'll make a double knot or a square knot. You know, you just want to secure, okay? And there we go. And there's the little loop. It's blending in because the color's the same, but it's looking very messy. We're going to fix all of that, but we have the loop. And now, in order to finish back up here, we're going to go back out through that hole, because you might be tempted to go down here. You can still bind your journal that way, but you're not going to end up, it'll make sense. Let's just do it. So we're out here. The next logical step is to go back through that hole. So we're doing like a figure eight, and just, you know, I hope I'm not overcomplicating this really simple process. Go back down. All right, we're out here, and now we're going to go back in through that middle hole. This part can always be a little bit tricky, so I kind of turn it sideways this way and try not to split a stitch. That I'm always trying not to go through the actual stitch. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And I don't know if you can see, but I've split a stitch, so I kind of just try and kind of move it so that the needle is not going through the actual stitch. It's much easier if the needle is not going through this, the thread, I should say, because when you're tightening everything, if you have pushed your needle through the thread, like this, for example, if your needle kind of went through the thread, this is sort of what happens. And then when you go to tighten your journal and your signature, it might be a little bit difficult. All right, so we're ending up here. Make sure everything is nice and tight. You don't want any loose signatures in your book. Perfect. We didn't end up here like I was saying before. I was just saying the wrong words. But now what we're going to do, we are here and we're going to go under this loop, right under the loop. And then do whatever to make it secure. We're going to go under that loop, under this loop. I'm going to turn it upside down again because it's easier for me. Tie a knot, maybe go under the loop again. It doesn't hurt to be extra secure. I lost my needle, doesn't matter. Tie another knot and another knot. And I'm going to trim all of that off. Don't need that anymore. And there we go, the binding is complete, all done. Of course, I have more up here than here. That's my punishment for saying it has to be perfect. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a handmade art, so, you know. What I'm gonna do now to make myself feel better is just ink away. Makes everything better. Kind of reminds me, before I had kids, I used to say, I will never let my kids watch TV. Yeah, I remember saying that. That makes it look a bit better. All right, so there we go. Binding is done. We have our little envelope in there. Look at that. It's looking cute. It's got some sewing on the... Would have been better if I've chosen green thread, green on the underneath and red up the top. We have the loop and maybe some messy holes there. So usually I just tidy that all up. You can't really see because it's blending in. So all I do is use my bone folder and kind of push that in and neaten it up, and you can see the difference. Again, it's a bit blurry, but you know what I mean. Again, it's these little details. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking right now, oh, who cares about that? If you care, you care. If you don't, you don't, I suppose. Okay, next. Embellishing starts on the inside, and then we'll come back to the tassel. We'll do that. As you know, you can take this any way that you want. I'm just going to sort of show you what I did, and I'm following the same formula that I did on the other journals, and I prepared everything in advance so we're not wasting time. I'm just using, this is just 6x6 paper. Oh, I think it's larger, 6.5 by 6.5. I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to make it into a tag shape. Just trimming those corners off. There we go. And now you have a fun tag that opens up, and you can, I leave mine blank inside. You can do whatever you feel like on yours. So my idea was also, if you decide to cover this back sentiment, you can do all sorts of fun stuff here, create a pocket and fill it up and all that stuff. If you decide to cover that, perhaps you can do your Christmas message in here. That's that done. That's going to go in there, and that's going to be a little belly band kind of thing. So all I'm going to do now is I'll glue it down basically. So just a little bit of glue on the sides. Pop it down. Okay, that's perfect. So I just created a little bit of space in there so it's not too tight. And now I'm going to let this dry a little bit, and while this is drying, I'm going to pop a little something here. Here is a little sentiment, and then I'm going to just do this. I mean, we really could have a lot more fun with this, but anyway, I'm going to keep it simple. Like, it will look nice to have a little something like that. Here we go. Done. I'm going to pop it aside just until this is completely dried. And now here we've got that star thing happening. You know, you can have a tag shape, you can have something like this. So you can do what I'm going to do with this. You can do it with just a simple tag, and it's like a fun element in your journal. But I have these stars, so I'm going to use that. Just going to get a little bit of twine, pop it through the star or whatever you're using, the tag. And now I have to secure that into place. You can go about this many different ways. But what did I decide to do? Oh yes, I decided to use this gold little offcut piece that I have. So I'm just going to put a little bit of double-sided tape here at the back. Just like that, double-sided tape. And I'm going to now demonstrate. Well, I suppose I am demonstrating. I'm going to see kind of where I want the star. That's good. Where do I want this? Up here, maybe like that. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to wrap this around. Why? Simply because I like the look. It doesn't have to be wrapped around, but I kind of like how that looks. There we go. Trim all that excess off, and that's stuck on that double-sided tape. And there we have it. That's the back and that's the front. I'm going to grab a little bit more double-sided tape and put it right on top of that piece, and down it goes where I want it. Perfect. Glued down. And now trim off that excess, and now I'm going to apply glue. I kind of minimally use double-sided tape. You could do double-sided tape across the whole thing, but I'm not a fan, as you probably know if you watch my videos. Here we go. Done. All right, I'm gonna pop this in here, and excellent. I'm quite happy with how this looks. With this type of thing, you can just keep going on and on and on. Like, I could add bling here, for example, little pieces of something to make it more fun. I could have had a little something underneath here. I can add another little pocket here with a smaller tag. I don't know, I have this on my desk, so I could do something like this, ink the edges and have that, it's kind of blending in, you know. I could have a little pocket here, as I was saying, and another little tag. We can just keep going with fun. I could hang these little stars there as well, you know. It's up to you how much time you want to spend. I like to have quite simple projects, as in not too busy. It's the details that I kind of zoom in on, but I don't like to have a whole lot of stuff happening. Everyone's different. That's just my personal thing. All right, so that's done. Then we open the page, and of course here we have a pocket, and I'm gonna fill it up. What do I have? I have a little tag that I made yesterday, so we're ready to go. That goes in there. Then I have a little napkin. Look at this, it's a napkin. How cute. That's gonna go in there. Then I have this little thing, says love. It's red. It's not necessarily Christmas, but it totally goes. All right, I'm gonna clip that on. Then we have another tag, Christmas tag. That's gonna go in there. And I'm kind of layering a little bit, I guess, so you can see the layers. I am going to leave most of the pages unembellished, and I'm just gonna go to the middle of my signature and pop another little thing on there. This is a stamped image. Clip that on. Perfect. Keep going. I'm not going to do anything on these pages. We're just leaving it as it is. All right, we're coming to this page here. You can do, like I said before, all sorts of stuff here, but all I'm going to do is add two little die cuts. This actually came in a pack, and I have no idea what it is, but it's got other Christmas stuff in there. So like, you can go crazy embellishing and adding little things, you know, but I'm keeping it simple, as I said. So let's glue these down. I really think it makes all the difference, just those two little corners. Finish that whole page off. All right, and here's that blank back, boring page. Actually, your greeting card may not be blank at the back. You know, yours might have a barcode at the back. It could have all sorts of stuff like this, you know, company name, all that sort of stuff. So even better, because the next step is creating a pocket for the back. Well, I'm creating a pocket. You could cover the whole thing but I'm going with the pocket. But first, I really need to ink these edges. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, so all I did here is I created a little pocket, which it's just scrapbook paper that I cut down to size. I added gold washi tape up here and just did a little bit of sewing. And now what I'm going to do is just glue this down. Glue applied to 3 sides. Now it's going to go down onto this greeting card, and I'm not centering it perfectly. So if I open this up, you will see I have a little bit of extra space here than I do here. These are all really unnecessary things that you don't need to know, but I suppose my thought process is there's quite a bit more curvature over here. See how that's wanting to pop open? So it's better to move the pocket a little bit that way, but not too much so it doesn't look off center. So anyway, I'm gonna put it back where it belongs. Keeps popping open. So now what I need to do is lay this under something heavy. I'm just gonna pop some books down right on top there, just until it dries, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's now all dry, and all I have to do is pop this little tag that I made, and there we have it. The only thing that's left to do is the tassel. For my tassel, I'm using some red ribbon, some lace, some green thread, green ribbon, very light green, that one, some more red ribbon with that gold, more green thread, more lace, some gold stuff that I've got, and then this gold tinsel, and that's going to be the tassel. So that's ready to go. I'm using a jump ring like this, just a circular jump ring, and I'm going to pop all of these bits through that jump ring. So I can attempt to do it all in one go like this. It can be done, but I'm just going to do it one by one. And here we go. So all of my little pieces are through the jump ring. And now to tie everything off, I'm going to use more fun stuff. This is also going to be part of my tassel. So I have one piece here, and then I'm going to wrap it around a few times just there on the top. Cut that off. And now I'm just going to tie a knot and a double knot, turn it around and tie some knots on the other side just to make sure. And there we have it. That's one massive tassel. I'm gonna give it a bit of a haircut a little bit later. Next thing I need is one of these claw clasps, I think they're called, I'm not entirely sure, and another little jump ring that goes on there, just like that. And now I'm going to attach that onto the big jump ring here. And that's what that looks like. We have that claw clasp on the jump rings, and that's ready to be attached onto my journal. So we have that little loop here, and now this needs to go through that loop. I made it really, really tight, so I'm kind of having trouble there, but I think it's better that it's tight. So all I do is I pop my needle through there to create space, and then pop this through. There we have it, and the needle can come out. Tassel attached. So as you can see, this is quite a large tassel. Kind of went a little bit overboard with the length, but that's fine. Next thing I'm going to do is add some beads. The beads with the very large opening are very easily threaded through this large ribbon here. So I'm going to pop that through. Where do I want it? Up there somewhere. Just leave it there for now. I'm going to do the same thing for this one here. Maybe I'll have that one sitting a little bit lower. And now for the beads that have a smaller opening, it's kind of hard to get it through. Like I want it on this. How do I get this through this? I'll show you how. This is why I like to leave my things a little bit longer. So I'll get my scissors and do this. In all my years of crafting, I've only come up with this yesterday when I was making the journals. So now, watch this. That goes through the bead. Oh my goodness. Look at that. How easy. And it's on there. So first I'm getting the beads on and then I'm going to do the knots. So now I'm going to do the same. I might want to add 2 beads on here. So I'm going to tie a knot under this one, just so it stays in place, it doesn't go anywhere. Get my second bead on there. I'm going to tie another knot underneath, and there we go. I'm quite happy with that. Now I only have 3 beads left to go, and I want to add them onto this green ribbon. So same kind of deal. Cut that into a point like that. I used to try this with a needle, but yesterday it didn't work with the needle because the needle eye is too large or too small for this. So anyway, that's how I came up with this method. That's on there. I'm going to tie a knot, get my second bead on there, maybe somewhere there, and tie a knot. All right, 1 bead to go. I'm going to pop it on the other green one. It can go on anything really. Get that little point happening. And that's all the beads I want to have on there. So now these ones, obviously they you know, moving around, or you can move them around. So I'm just going to tie a knot underneath these. That's that one done. And that's all the beads that I want on there. So now time for a haircut. Obviously this is way too long. So of course I'm just going to come in and trim. And here's my tassel complete. That looks quite nice. It's got some beads, it's got some gold, it's got some green. Once again, this is the kind of thing where you can just keep going until, you know, you want as many beads on there as you wish. I'm quite happy with that. And I've done all the tassels in the exact same way. So all the thinking was done for the very first tassel when I was trying to decide what beads to use and what ribbons and colors and stuff to use. And here we go, all of my little tassels done. I'm going to show you the inside of the 3 journals at the same time, just so you can see the different types of things that I've done, different types of scrapbook papers that I've used. This is the one we did today. And then I've got this one, so they all have different looks because of the different scrapbook papers and stuff like that. And then the inside of the envelopes, these 2 are done the same way. Everything else on the inside is exactly the same in all 3 journals. And then the back, on this one I used different corners, and on those 2 I didn't do that paper, I just sewn around. And the back pockets, here they are. And we have officially transformed these generic Christmas gift cards, or they're not gift cards, greeting cards, and we made something really quite special. And I always think, imagine if I was receiving something like this for Christmas, like instead of just a greeting card, I receive a little booklet like this. How cool would that be? With a message here, you know, with all these little bits and pieces that you can look through, that you can marvel at. I really, really love this project, love this idea. I hope you do too. Please let me know what you think. Comment down below. Did you enjoy this tutorial? Will you make this for Christmas? It doesn't have to be for Christmas, it can be a birthday card. It can be a wedding anniversary card. It can be any greeting card, right? You're just making it so much more special. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!